Well, I'm sure that most of you watching this video are aware that saddle hunting and mobile hunting in general has really exploded over the last, I don't know, several years, especially up in the Northeast and the Midwest, the Southeast, a lot of the public hunting states. But even here in the state of Texas, saddle hunting continues to gain in popularity. And because of that, we've actually started a new saddle hunting and mobile hunting subforum on our discussion forums at texasbowhunter.com. So we have a lot of our members that are kind of starting to express some interest in saddle hunting and asking a lot of questions. And as a kind of a newish saddle hunter myself, I thought I would make a video just kind of talking about mostly the gear, but kind of the way I've refined my gear over the last couple of years, how I got started in it, what I started with, some of the equipment, some of the changes that I've made, and hopefully some of the new saddle hunters that are watching this, or some of the people that have started taking interest can learn a few things, learn what some of the things that work for me and why, some of the things that haven't worked for me, and it can save them a little bit of money in the long run. I've really started practicing setting up my gear, putting on the gear, really practicing my climbing method, which is a one-sticking climbing method, which we'll talk about, and just getting more comfortable with it. In the fall, I would like to do a Midwest whitetail hunt. I've actually talked to a couple of people on the site about different opportunities, maybe in Missouri, maybe in Kansas, and so I am going to do a Midwest whitetail hunt somewhere, and so I want to spend the time in the off season, the early part of this off season, in the spring and the summer, really dialing in my gear, but also getting proficient with it. And so when it comes time to go out and do a public hunt in the Midwest, I won't be trying to learn on the fly. And so today in this video, I want to really just jump into the gear that I'm using. It's going to be a little bit of an overview. We'll talk a little bit about some of the gear that I used in the past, and then some of the things that I'm still going to change over the course of the next couple of months in anticipation of the fall. For the last couple of years, I was using this tethered Phantom saddle. It's a single panel saddle. It's very comfortable. It's very lightweight. I really like it. I like the Raptor buckles on it. I like the bridge on it. I like the way that the bridge adjusts. It's got little buttons on them, you call it, so you can adjust your saddle for comfort. It's extremely well made. Again, lightweight, extremely comfortable. I really liked it. But after hunting with it for a couple of seasons and then really trying to get dialed in over the spring and summer, I wanted to try a two-panel saddle, and that's when I went to the Latitude Method 2. So this saddle, the Phantom, a friend of mine, Stephen Leggett, actually gave me his entire saddle hunting setup. So 2 years ago, in fact, it was 2 years ago in March, I had expressed a little bit of an interest in saddle hunting, had asked him some questions. I knew he had his. He had lost his place to hunt, so he told me just take all his gear and use it. With that, it came with the Phantom 2 saddle. It came with the sys hauler that you see on this, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. It came with a complete setup of the tether rope and the lineman's belt, which I have here. He actually gave me 4 of these Shikar sticks, and we'll go into a little bit more detail about these here in a minute as well. 4 Shikar sticks plus a Shikar Mini. This Predator platform, which is a tethered Predator platform. Pretty much all of the gear, just turnkey, get started. In fact, 2 weeks after he gave it to me, I think it may have been a week after he gave it to me, I went to our Blanco lease and decided that I was going to saddle hunt for axis. And so I loaded up the saddle, loaded up 4 sticks on my side, packed in all my gear on the in the sys hauler here, grabbed my backpack full of camera gear, walked up to a tree, set the first stick, climbed up with my backpack, fought the tether rope, fought the lineman's belt, didn't really trust the gear, wasn't sure it was going to hold me. And after battling it for about 20 minutes and sweating in the month of March, I finally climbed down, left the climbing sticks at the base of the tree, walked to one of our pre-hung game tamer stands, and climbed up in it and finished my hunt. So I came back from that hunt, and first thing I did is I got on the internet. I got on texasbowhunter.com. I did a search for saddle hunting, read through some of the threads there, and there's just a whole different language that people were talking about. They were talking about things like one sticking. They were talking about mad rocks and gree-grees, and they were talking about Kong ducks and tethers and all kind of different terms that I had no idea what that meant. And so I continued to go down the rabbit hole, went down the YouTube rabbit hole, and started looking at all the different terms that people were using, ring of steps, all the different things, and learning what each of those was, and learning about saddle hunting, and learning about different climbing methods and ropes, and Canyon Elite ropes, and rappelling, and all the devices you need for it. And so that really piqued my interest. I came across Platinum Pursuit Outdoors, I think is what it is, and he had converted his Shikar Mini Stick into a one-step platform. And so I went down that rabbit hole and decided that's exactly what I wanted to do. So I called out on a limb and talked to Matt. He told me exactly the things I needed. I ordered it. I called Eastern Woods Outdoors, figured out what I needed to climb and to rappel, ordered all the kit that I needed for that. They shipped it to me. But every time we would go to the lease and I decided I was going to do that, it was just easier to go into a preset stand. I wasn't comfortable with it. And so really for the last 2 years, I've had all the equipment, I just haven't used it. And so at the end of this season, I kind of did the same thing. I had decided I was going to go. I packed up all of my gear, my one stick and Phantom saddle. I hiked probably 1.5 miles to one of the stand locations that we have and was going to climb up in a tree. Couldn't figure out which tree I wanted to climb. The wind was wrong. Ultimately, I just kind of chickened out and ended up in one of our ground blinds and spent the last of the hunts there. And it was then that I decided, you know what, when I get home for the rest of this season, for the rest of the off season, I'm going to make myself climb trees up and down until I get really proficient with it. And so that's kind of where I am today. I did that. I came back here, climbed the trees, worked on setups. I've been to our lease 4 times hunting for axis. I probably climbed and actually hunted, saddle hunted 6 times. Climbed various trees around here another couple of dozen times. No telling how many times I've climbed up just above ground level just to set my gear, get comfortable with it, figure out what worked and what didn't, how I wanted to set everything up. And so now I'm feeling like I'm really starting to get it dialed in. One of the things that I decided is that I wanted to try the 2-panel saddle. And like I said, this is the Latitude Method 2. I just got this probably 3 weeks ago. Latitude Outdoors was having a sale, and as of the time I'm recording this, they still have 30% off of their Latitude Method 2 saddles. I think it's one of the best values, probably the best value among saddles that I've seen. I got it in and I really liked it. From a weight standpoint, it's nearly identical. I think it's maybe a couple ounces more than the Phantom. So I won't go too detailed into the saddle, but it's a 2-panel saddle and it uses magnets. There are no straps that hold it together, and that was one of the things that I wanted and looked for, is something that didn't really have the straps. I know I didn't want to try to fiddle with them and get them adjusted and open and close and all that stuff. This one's real simple. It uses a series of 4 magnets. When it's closed up, it stays together, and that's something that I wanted. So when I'm hiking in, I don't want a sag. I don't want that second panel coming down. I don't want it hitting the back of my legs. I don't want to get tangled up in it. I want it to be as compact as possible. And I think that's actually what they call it, is compact mode. And in compact mode, it's actually narrower than the Phantom is. It's by probably 1/2 inch, maybe 1 inch. It's actually narrower when it's collapsed than the Phantom. And yet when you pull down, there's a couple of different straps here. You pull it down, open it up. You can infinite adjustability, so you can sit in it, you can lean on it, you can have your back support, any infinite number of configurations that you can have with it. And so I really like it. I've had several hunts with it, really comfortable. It's exactly what I was looking for. I did pull the cis hauler off of the Predator. This is part of the kit that Steven gave to me. And so we'll kind of dig into it. In this front pocket here, I keep a Hero clip, and that's kind of a spare. I've got 2 of those. I keep that. And then in the main pouch, I don't currently have anything in this back pocket. In the main pouch is where I run my rope, my rappel rope. And what this is 40 feet of Canyon Elite 9mm. And so that was very popular when I bought the kit that I bought from Eastern Woods Outdoors. I've got it attached to a quick link, and that's pretty typical in the one sticking world. Probably the most popular rappel method is the Madrock Safeguard, and so it works plenty well. A lot of people use a figure 8. A lot of people use different devices for that. I bought this Madrock a couple years ago, and it's worked perfectly fine. Underneath that, I think it came out with it, I've got 40 feet of Dynaglide, and this is my pull down rope. So when I get to the tree, I pull my rappel rope out, attach it to the backpack, put the other one over my shoulder so that I'm ready to climb, and then that will be my climbing system. And then I will pull out this Dynaglide, attach one end to the bow, and use it as a pull-up rope. And then this is very important when I get up to the top of the tree and it's time to rappel down. This will clip into the end of the rope, whether I'm using the quick link, actually connect it to this tether locker, and it allows me to pull that down and pull the rope through after I get down to the ground. With the Phantom, I only ran this one sys-hole. I wanted to add a second dump pouch to it. I felt like I wanted something a little bit more rigid. Watched a couple of videos of people talking about a cheap one that's on Amazon, and I don't even remember the name of it, but it's a military mag pouch, and it's got a couple of nice features to it. It stays open, it doesn't sag like this one you see when there's nothing in it, it starts to sag. This one stays open. I can drop stuff in just like it's called. It's a dump pouch. Reach in, pull it out, and then if I do want to secure it, I can actually pull on this, and it cinches up tight. You can see it's got the fabric here that cinches up tight, so it kind of secures everything in there. This thing was like $9, and so works great for what it is. Can't decide if I like it or don't like it. I don't know if you can hear, but that fabric makes a little bit of noise. This is super quiet, no noise at all. So, but we'll talk about kind of what I got in here. On this front side, I've got a folding limb saw. I have a bigger one that I was using, and then somebody on TexasBowhunter.com made mention that they run like a 4 or 5 inch one because it makes them really think about what limbs they're going to cut. And so most of the time I don't want to be cutting limbs, but I want to have the ability if I need to. This is a replaceable blade saw, just a cheap one. I've got it in here. In this front pocket here on this pouch, I've got pruning shears. This was recommended. These are the Easy Cut. They're ratcheting pruners. Somebody suggested these. I ordered them. They're fairly lightweight. I can see a lot of situations where I would like to have a pruner. I'm trying to decide if it makes sense to run a pruner and the saw. I think that's why I decided to go with the smaller saw and the pruners. And I don't think I want to run the pruners and a big saw. But anyway, for now, that's what I'm running there. And then in this back pouch right here, which will sit in the back of the side here, I've got my tethered bow holder that'll go with my his strap that we'll talk about here shortly. All right, so as I'm climbing, once I get to the tree, one of the things that I've recently added and kind of came across by chance is a Bullman platform steps. And I actually was looking at a ring of steps. A lot of people suggest, in addition to a platform, running a ring of steps. And so I kind of got online, started doing some research, came across the Bullman platform steps, looked at his website, thought about ordering some, and then I decided to check Facebook Marketplace, and I found the Bullman platform steps, but they were the steps and not the ring of steps. And so a gentleman had them in Louisiana. He had used them one time, found that he didn't use them. There's a set of 10 of them in here. They have the Amsteel guys USA attachment, which is a really nice attachment system, and probably costs more than the steps themselves do. So there's 10 of each in those, and it came with this nice pouch here that it carries all in. He was selling it for a very nice price. So I contacted him, asking if he was willing to ship it. He was. Great guy. The guy actually invited me to come down to Louisiana and hunt with him. We had a great conversation back and forth. He shipped the steps to me, and so here I've got them in this. I took one of them out and I keep it in this dump pouch. If I'm one sticking up a tree and I get to a situation where I have a couple of 3 feet between me and, say, a split trunk of the tree, I can reach into this dump pouch, pull out that Bullman step, attach it, step onto it, grab my stick, step up into the to the crook of that tree, and then I can reset my tether, reset my stick without having to make a 2 or 3 foot move with my stick. And so I've actually done that in a tree. Works great. So I like having that. These are 3 more of the Bullman steps. I've got them in a cam over strap that I got from Eastern Woods Outdoors. It attaches to the tree real quickly, cams over, locks in tight. I can use this as my ring of steps in addition to the platform, which we'll talk about here shortly. Once I get up the tree, then before I pull my backpack or anything else up, I want to attach my HISS strap, so haul your stuff strap. This is made by Tethered. I haven't really decided if I like this fully or not. It's a great feature. It's got all of these different loops, so you can have infinite number of attachments and things attached and hanging from the tree. It goes around the tree. It uses a G-hook to attach into one of these loops. It's got this pull strap. You pull that tight. Take your tethered bow hanger here, work it up underneath one of these loops. So you put it in this loop, you turn it, slide this under it between the tree and this back side of the loop, and then you've got your bow holder. I like having an infinite number of places to hang my gear, but I don't need an infinite number of places to hang my gear. There's probably 3 or 4 things that I need to be able to loop into to hang a bow, my backpack, maybe my binoculars at some point. And so I'm looking for another possibility, another alternative to this. So on the front of the saddle, obviously I'm climbing with the Canyon Elite rope. With the Phantom saddle was also included a tether and a lineman's belt. The more experience I got with it, the more I realized that I wanted a smaller rope than this 11 millimeter, and so I reached out to Hang Free, and I ordered another tether with 8 millimeter rope. This is 8 millimeter Predator rope. See the size different in the rope, but look at it when it's folded up. You're going to try to stick this in a dump pouch. That's pretty bulky compared to, that's a lot more compact, a lot more lightweight. And so I just got this in the mail today, and so I will be adding this to my system and getting rid of this. Now, the Ropeman 1 is one thing that I had on the tethered lineman's belt, and so it's not rated for 8 millimeter rope. The minimum is actually, I think, 10, and I think the Ropeman 2 will do maybe 9, maybe 8, but it has a Swabish. So it's lineman's and then a friction hitch called a Swabish hitch. We'll call it Swabish. And then it's got a Prusik tender that's already included with it. Kind of serves the same purpose, but number one, you don't have to worry about the rating of the mechanical Ropeman or Kong or whatever device that you want to use. I like not having that, and I also like not having the weight. I like not having the metallic banging, something to rattle or bang around. If listen to this, and when it's on the carabiner, obviously it can make noise. You know, it's got a spring on it and it click. If it was to bang around on something, you know, you've got that to deal with. And so I like the idea of going with the non-mechanical, and from what I can tell, this tender actually works really well. So I'll play around with that. I haven't had a chance to even put it on yet. I just got it in the mail actually late this afternoon, so I haven't used it, but I'm looking forward to doing that. Around the outside, you've got the gear loops, and so got another one of these hero clips on one. I've got a couple of S-beaners with the gates removed, just stuff to hang. Typically I'll hang my platform when I'm coming down. I don't like to put the platform, I have run it that way where when I get to the tree, I'll take the platform off the backpack, hang it on my belt and the saddle belt, and then climb up with it that way, and it works. Don't even realize it's there. most of the time, but I don't like having that on my back. All right, let me get this out of the way. That kind of covers the saddle and all of the contents that are in there. This is actually a Treehouse 38 by Mystery Ranch. I've been running this since December, maybe first part of January. Really like it. It's a big pack, but with all the camera gear I carry, wanted to be able to carry all my saddle hunting equipment to and from the stand. So as we get into it, I'll move the water bottle out of the way. But this is my climbing stick and platform setup. So we talked about these Shikar One Sticks. Again, Stephen gave me the 4 Shikar One Sticks, and I think those weigh, just those 4, I can't remember, 7.5 or 9.5 pounds, but it was clanky going to the tree stand. I really, had them hanging off my saddle, climbing up the tree. It was just cumbersome. It was a nightmare. And so that's why I really took an interest in the One Stick. And then, as I said, I came across Platinum Pursuit Outdoors that had a video on modifying the One Stick, the Shikar Mini One Stick. So you can see the way that it nests on this platform. And this whole package, I think the 1.88 pounds for the stick and the aider and the cam cleat and everything. And then I think the Predator platform is another 3.5 pounds. But as you can see, it fits in there really nicely, mounts on the backpack. I can separate it. And so it works really well. This is from Out on a Limb, just I think it's a 1/2 inch tubular webbing aider. It's a 3-step aider. And again, this whole package weighs, I think, 1.88 pounds, something like that. So it's extremely light. And that's what I was looking for. I was looking for something that I could attach to the backpack, pack into the woods, whether it's 1/2 mile, 2 miles deeper into the woods, however far I wanted to go, and have the ability to climb up as high as I wanted to in the tree. So I've been using this. Again, I built this thing 2 years ago, actually, and I think I looked at the receipt from all the stuff that I got from Out on a Limb, and it was in April of 2023. Used it a time or two, and then really started playing around with it after the end of the whitetail season. I've made multiple climbs with it. I've put it through its paces, and I've learned quite a bit about how to climb, what works. I've navigated some very tricky trees. The trees that we have at our Blanco lease are all scrub oaks, some post oaks, live oaks, but they're all twisted, gnarly. There's no straight trees. And so, but I wanted to make myself one stick climb up those trees so that I could get more proficient with it. And now it's second nature. If I go up to a straight tree, I can just pop right up it. As I've told people on TexasBowhunter.com, this is one tool in the toolbox. I'm not saying that I'm dogmatic about one sticking. I think there's multiple different climbing methods. I may even try the DRT and SRT at some point. But for this spring, my goal is to get as proficient as I can with the one stick. And so I feel like I'm well on my way to getting that done. I'm getting a lot more comfortable with it, a lot more comfortable with the gear and the setup. Now, a couple things that I've learned through this. So this stick is 10 5/8 inches long, and it works fine. A lot of people think if you get longer sticks, you can get a lot more height. In one sticking, that's not necessarily the case. And I'm gonna make a separate video talking about that. What step length should you get? But this 10 5/8 inch stick will get me about as high, about as fast as anybody that's got an 18-inch stick that's one sticking. This has the 2 double steps, so step on each side, and it doesn't have a platform. And initially I didn't want a platform type stick. I just wanted something I could attach to the stick, attach to the tree real quick, climb up, and then get up, set the platform, and I would hunt from my platform. In theory, I could use this as a separate step and set the platform next to it. And so I've got to be able to step around the tree, and it works in theory and in practice. However, one of the things that I've discovered in the practice climbs that I've done, there are times where I have to retie my tether, go around a limb, set up a second tether or my rappel rope. And so I'll find that there are times where I'm either standing on the top step or the bottom step, and I will start experiencing some leg fatigue. I think I've decided that having a top platform would be a good idea. I actually got online and I looked, and Matt over at Out on a Limb sells a Monarch platform, and it's relatively inexpensive. In fact, I was looking at that and I came across another video that Greg Staggs had done about a new one stick that Eastern Woods Outdoors and Arsenal are coming out with, called the Solo Stick. And so that intrigued me. I think it's like 2 pounds, 2.5 ounces. It's got a top platform and a bottom platform and a 12-inch stick, more streamlined cam cleat, and a lot of different features that I was really intrigued with. And so I held off on ordering the platform for this. And then about a week or so, actually 2 weeks ago now, I got on Eastern Woods Outdoor to order something else, and I saw that they had it for pre-order. It won't ship till June, but I've pre-ordered one. So I will officially be the owner of a platform one stick come June. But in the meantime, this is what I'm using and it works well. Currently, this is my one stick. It will be changing. I'm gonna hang on to this as is and see how I like it compared to a platform step. Again, I've kind of mentioned this a couple of different times. This is the tethered Predator platform. This is a platform that my buddy Steven gave me. It had a cam buckle strap, just normal strap that you put on it, pull it tight, seat it down. I ordered this. This is, again, from the Amsteel guy. It's the USA Plus attachment system, and it's the same as their USA attachment system, except that it adds another friction hitch around the other side so that you can use it as a trucker's hitch to get additional leverage, tighten it down on the tree. And so I went ahead and put one on this. Again, I mentioned earlier that I'm using the ring of steps in the way that I'm currently doing it, climbing up with one stick, setting the platform, and then taking a ring of 3 steps. I'm going to try to see how it works with a platform in 3 steps. Now, when I get the Solo Stick, I'm not sure that I'm going to run the additional platform. We'll just have to wait and see. One of the draws of getting away from that, this is 1.88 pounds. This is 3.5 pounds. So we're looking at roughly 5.5 pounds almost, as is, with everything attached, not counting the ring of steps. That by itself, with the Ultimator and the Pack and Play plush that comes with it, I think Greg Staggs said it's going to be like 3.1 pounds. So that stick and platform will be less than this by itself. And so I'm anxious to see that. My intent is to run that with either a ring of 3, ring of 4, whatever number of steps that I need. Again, I've got 6 more over in this pouch over here, the Bowman Outdoors pouch. So I've got a lot of flexibility with that. When I get to the tree, I don't want to have to dig inside the pack. And so that's the way why I've got everything the way I do, either on the saddle or on the back of the pack. The one thing that I can reach in, the great thing about this Mystery Ranch Treehouse 38 is I don't have to get into the pack to get to different things. So typically knee pads, which I have in here right now, I would put on at the truck, hike in with it. I do have this pocket if I decide that I want to wait till I get to the tree. I can access that from the outside here. So for now, this is kind of where I'm running it. I think more than likely they will probably go on at the truck. Okay, so everything else in here is either camera gear, hunting equipment. I got camera arms. I was actually going to talk a little bit about camera arms, but I think I'll save that for another video and leave this one just to the saddle and to the climbing method, the one sticking method. All right, so that was a fairly detailed, comprehensive look at my setup, maybe too comprehensive. I'm going to continue I've got a series of videos that I want to do talking a little bit more about different climbing techniques, a little bit more about some of the other gear that I have, more in detail and specific, and we'll do those at a future video. I've also got some other self-filmed video stuff that I want to do. I've got a few items that I'm testing. Of course, we're getting set up for Total Archery Challenge, so I'm going to talk a little bit more about the Mathews Lift X. I've got the UltraView Mathews slider sight that I still need to talk about. So I've got a lot of content that I'm going to have coming up. So I hope you'll click the subscribe button below, and so you'll be notified of that. And again, please come over and join us over on TexasBowhunter.com for all the discussion, and especially if you're looking to get into the saddle hunting, come join us over there, talk about it, and we'll look forward to seeing you over there.